At the heart of almost any scandal, and certainly any cover-up, there is always one killer question. The Post Office Horizon scandal is no different. The question is, who knew what and when? Tonight we can reveal a secret recording of a Post Office meeting which answers those issues in turn. Paula Vennells, that sub-postmasters may not be the only ones who could get into their Horizon computers, and July 2013. 2 years after that, Ms Vennells, the chief executive of the Post Office, told MPs she was not aware of any miscarriage of justice. And as Ms Vennells and other Post Office executives were being warned not to cover up the truth, sub-postmasters were still being prosecuted.
Paula Vennells ran the Post Office at the height of the Horizon IT scandal. As its chief executive, she approved the relentless and wrongful pursuit of sub-postmasters through the courts, always denying it was its own computer system to blame and denying Post Office branch accounts could be accessed remotely by Fujitsu workers at its HQ in Bracknell. This was Paula Vennells giving evidence to Parliament in 2015, denying there was any evidence of wrongdoing by the Post Office.
And if there had been any miscarriages of justice, it would have been really important to me in the Post Office that we actually surface those. And as the investigations have gone through, so far we've had no evidence of that.
But now, for the first time, ITV News can reveal a secret recording of a meeting Paula Vennells attended 2 years earlier in 2013 with Ron Warmington and Ian Henderson, investigators from a company called Second Sight, tasked with looking into possible issues with the Horizon system.
Just to let you know, Paula has now joined the call as well.
Hi, Ian.
Yeah, hi, Paula.
Hi, Paula.
Hi, Ron.
In the meeting, she is explicitly made aware of allegations that sub-postmaster branch accounts could be accessed remotely, and bosses are warned against publicly denying it, which at the time they were doing.
The last thing you want is a spot review response that says categorically there was no access to live data from Bracknell if in a week's time some bloody whistleblower pipes up to say, well, actually, I was working on the second floor and we routinely did X.
Remote access to branch accounts is at the heart of the Horizon scandal.
I'm trying to produce this week's cash account.
The ITV drama shows how sub-postmasters like Joe Hamilton were seeing money disappear from their accounts.
Oh my God. It's just doubled right in front of my eyes.
They said the Horizon IT system was to blame, a claim the Post Office dismissed for years. But at the 2013 meeting, the investigators expressed their concerns that the Post Office was not being transparent about the possibility of remote access by Fujitsu workers.
What might be interpreted in the press as weasel wording is extremely dangerous. You know, we're not just asking whether people in that basement had access to live systems, even if your answer is they did have access to what they called the live system, but it wasn't live, which itself, you know, we're having to kind of word carefully to make it sound other than stupid. You know, when you say they didn't have access to the Horizon system, but actually they were passing entries to live data, but you didn't ask that. That is really dangerous ground.
The Post Office would continue to deny remote access was possible until 2019, 6 years after this meeting, in which a senior Post Office official is heard telling Paula Vennells and co. that they are actively interviewing Fujitsu staff about it.
So another action from yesterday is to check who has access throughout that whole Bracknell building. So we've taken that away just to look at.
This meeting is crucial because at the time, in 2013, the Post Office was still taking sub-postmasters to court, getting some of them sent to jail, on the basis that remotely accessing their branch accounts was simply not possible, and that it was the sub-postmasters to blame for any money going missing. More than 900 sub-postmasters were eventually convicted, including Seema Misra. She was pregnant when she was wrongly jailed for stealing close to £75,000 from the post office she ran, due to the faulty IT system, which it turned out could be accessed and altered remotely.
Now, after listening to all these tapes and everything, oh my God, I'm thinking they don't care, you know. They didn't care that I'm pregnant, I've been sent to prison for the crime I never committed. But they just don't care. They're just like good in hiding things.
The meeting in 2013 could have been a turning point. Once Paula Vennells had left the meeting, having heard the warnings from investigators, they both hoped the Post Office would now take the allegations seriously.
Was that Paula Vennells on the meeting?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm glad we didn't pull any punches then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so all that stuff, you know, it's come out. They are going to have to really wrestle with this, aren't they?
But instead, the Post Office continued fighting the sub-postmasters in what became one of Britain's worst miscarriages of justice.
And Dan is here now. Look, this has been a shocking scandal at every step, shocking again tonight. What's been the response?
We're about to go to every sort of key player in that meeting who was in that meeting. First of all, Second Sight, those investigators say they can't comment right now because they are a core part of the public inquiry that's currently going on. The Post Office said something similar. A spokesperson said the public inquiry is the best forum to examine the issues raised by this evidence, and we continue to be fully focused on supporting the inquiry to get the truth. Paula Vennells, we have contacted her for a reply. We're yet to receive a statement from her. But last time we heard from her publicly was when she handed back her CBE back in February, and she then said, "I am truly sorry for the devastation caused to the sub-postmasters and their families whose lives were torn apart by being wrongfully accused and wrongfully prosecuted as a result of the Horizon system." She will appear at that public inquiry in July. It's likely to end in the autumn. For those sub-postmasters, I think hearing that tape tonight will be deeply upsetting. We know what they have been through, and I think that inquiry is their chance now at justice. And justice for them does not mean apologies. It doesn't mean handing in honours. It means much more than that. But what they want is the truth, and that's been pretty hard to get, as you can see from those tapes.